I think purpose of protest is not necessarily to win over people. It's to bring
To annoy us?
to bring these important conversations to the table.
Yeah, but we know the conversation. You're a vegan, right? I'm a meat eater. Why can't we just both live happily in each other's orbit? Why can't you let me just get on with eating meat and you eat your gruel and we'll all go home happy?
Because we know animal farming and fishing are a leading cause of the climate
And
crisis.
we know having a strictly vegan diet is bad for you as well.
Well, that's not true.
A lot of science says it's bad for you.
That's not true.
It is true.
No,
What do you eat?
A leading study from...
Do you eat? It's an interview. You don't just answer different questions. Do you eat avocados?
I eat a plant-based diet, which
Do you eat avocados?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Great. Do you know how avocados and almonds get made?
Absolutely.
You do.
Yes.
So you realise that in California, every year, for 6 weeks, they fly in billions of bees to create your almonds and avocados. And in that process, several billion bees get murdered. This is a bee. Right? That's a bee. That, last time I checked, is a living animal. Billions get slaughtered so that you, sitting here, pontificating in between smashing up our buildings, so that you can have your almonds and your avocado. And I say to you, why don't you care about the little guys?
Can I say that the
It's total hypocrisy, isn't it? You don't care about bees being
Will
murdered?
you let me speak, Pierce?
Huh?
Will you let me speak? I'd really
Why are
like
you
to
laughing?
respond.
It's not funny.
I'd like to respond.
Bees getting slaughtered and you giggling away like it doesn't matter whilst destroying buildings because you care so much about animals. You don't care about the little guys.
That's one of my favorite clips of all time. Everything about that is just amazing.
I mean, that's one of the few like Piers Morgan clips where I'm actually on Piers Morgan's side. Like usually when I watch the like clips from the Piers Morgan show, I'm just like, oh my god, what does he have to talk about this? Or he has to go in the same, like, oh, like women's rights or all this kind of stuff, or try to be equal and all that kind of crap or something like that. But then
I'm about to say one of the magic words that summons Carlos. I kind of think of Piers Morgan in the same way as I do Bill Maher. Like sometimes Bill Maher is like really poignant and spot on, and sometimes I'm like, holy shit, I know this isn't the same
He's
guy
a
I was
moron.
just listening to last week. Like, yeah, and that's how I feel about Pierce. Like sometimes he really hits it on the head, and he goes after the right topics, and he goes after them from the right angle, and other times I'm like, is this the same guy? It's like there's still, they're like purple pill. Like there's still enough blue in there that like from time to time their programming like takes over, and the NPC like comes out like they're like Free Guy, only they they're trying to fight they're trying to fight against the program, but at the same time they're still stuck in the program. So from time to time they still do the program thing, and then at other times they seem to be breaking free of it. So it's kind of
it was like
insane.
There was the interview he did like a couple weeks ago where he got like he was talking to some OnlyFans chick or something like that. There's, let's see. Yeah, here's the actual clip. This OnlyFans chick just completely owned him because he was trying to like say like, oh well, what will your kids think about you doing OnlyFans or whatever, and then like here's basically what she had to say about what her kids think about her doing OnlyFans.
Someone who embarked on a law career, was obviously very bright, went to university, packed it in just for money to be effectively an online stripper. I mean, that's what you do, right?
Yeah. Way worse than an online stripper. But,
what do you mean way worse?
Way worse. Online strippers just, naked. I do things that are way more grotesque.
Just pornography.
Pornography, anything. But it's all within what I want to do. And I absolutely love it. And I'm really good at it. I could be a good lawyer, yes. But also, am I good at doing other things on video and camera?
How would you feel when you want to have kids yourself?
Well, I mean, I don't really want kids right now.
But you will do. How old are you?
25.
Right, so you will do at some stage, probably, right?
Maybe.
When you do, you're going to be proud that you have your little ones and they look at you and go, didn't you want to be a lawyer, Mummy? What happened?
Yeah.
And you go, yeah, but look at all my stuff.
They can cry in a Ferrari.
He knows he lost the argument right there, like that at that moment. He knew he effed up.
I don't know. Did you see the one article? I wish I had saved it. I just kind of like blew past it and didn't think a whole lot of it. It was some kid, or it was a story about like a kid that he was
Oh, he was suicidal.
experiencing like suicidal thoughts and tendencies because his basically because his friends found his mom's OnlyFans, or were like harassing him with her pictures and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I get her.
Is that funny?
I get her. They can cry he can cry in the Ferrari argument, but at the same time, like there's some legitimate psychological and emotional damage that's going to be done by having that kind of stuff out there. Like,
Oh no, I'm on board with you, but like if you're looking at like an argument perspective, like when she just lays that out there, you know, like they could cry to Ferrari, like, and he has no response. Like if you had a response, like you could tell he's just like I lost that one.
yeah, I mean that's without a good like quick rebuttal, like, okay, so how about this kid that's suicidal and stuff like just to get a moment. Yeah, it's hard to back that up. Like you got to do some significant prep work to be able to rebut that. Like, and obviously he wasn't expecting. He was expecting her to like feel something about that.
See, like a good rebuttal would be like, yeah, he'll be inhaling the fumes of that Ferrari in the garage, and like just to stop the pain. Like, I mean, if it's something like that, like a quick rebuttal like that, you know, like a quick quip, like then you kind of you're back in control. But like when she's just like, he's just like, oh.
Yeah, she pretty sufficiently dropped the hammer on him with that one. He wasn't prepared for that. Much like the leftists were not prepared for Trump to be released yesterday with effectively no restrictions or anything. Did you see that? So he turned himself in. They put him in jail, or they arrested him, and then he was released within a couple hours with effectively no restriction. They said he's he's too public of a figure to be a flight risk. Like they're not concerned about him like trying to disappear or run off because he's running for president.
He's too recognizable.
Yeah, like he's not going anywhere. And plus, I think
like if he's running for president, why would he like fly away to India or something? You know, like I don't know.
Well, and I think at their core, at his core, the judge who released him knows that this is a complete sham. Like there's nothing that's going to stand up in court with this whole thing. So like, why would you prolong the bullshit? And especially if, so every time one of these things gets announced that like Trump is getting indicted or Trump's getting arraigned or Trump's going to get arrested, like all the leftists lose their mind. He's going to jail, yay! And then like his popularity takes a 10-point boost.
Higher. Yeah.
Right. Like every time this happens, he jumps in his approval ratings jump 10 points. And not only like with Republicans, like yes, there are the Republicans who are like, I think the last poll I saw was Trump was like 61% of Republicans said that they would vote for Trump, and like 23, and the closest
20 for Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, the closest one to him
like
was Ron DeSantis at like 23%. Yeah, Pence is 1% is a rounding error. Like we've got to assign the unaccounted for votes to somebody. So just give them to that loser. Have you seen his? There have been like advertisements getting run on Twitter to support Mike Pence's presidential bid. Like,
no, I haven't seen those.
They are fucking cringy. It's like every time I see one, I just say, "You're a Democrat. Just go away." Like this is you're
Yeah.
useless.
See,
That
I get
dude
like
was useless.
I get
as
like
a
video games ads and stuff, so I don't get as much like political ads. I guess
that dude was useless as the governor of Indiana, only to be outdone by his successor, governor or what the fuck, Holcomb. He's
yeah.
might be even worse. I mean, like Pence was a wet rag
Mhm.
and useless. Like Holcomb is like an actively
Just
a rhino.
sabotage.
Yeah, like at least
he's
Pence
trying
was
to
just
destroy like
right. At least
India.
Pence was just like inept.
Yeah.
Holcomb was like actively bad. So I guess it could always be worse. And the idiots of Indiana will continue to vote for these fuckers because they've got an R next to their name, and anything's better than the Democrats, which, as Indianapolis has proven, that's accurate. But I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like with here like Kay Ivey just she was all about all kinds of of the crap that has basically destroyed our state, and then she does a couple good things with like the legislation, and then people are just like, oh yay, like they're doing the right thing. It's like, well, our state, like it's like somebody was saying like, oh, Alabama's GDP is higher than that of Japan's, so that therefore Alabama like is just a better like is overall just a better like state to be than in the entirety of Japan. And I was like, have you went through Alabama cities at all? Like have you just went through there and seen all the decrepit garbage and how horrible like the functionality of our like I don't know, just like everything is like run down and nothing like seems serviceable like and I mean just our societal fabric is just like way worse than Japan's. I was like literally just if I like I love everything about my state as far as like I love the like location, all the nature, nature and everything. But my God, like give me Japan's societal structure over any of the GDP garbage that like it doesn't
well,
mean anything.
there's a big difference between Alabama and Japan, and it's the skin color of your ethnicities.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, well, that's there's a few cities that cause that more than others apparently.
Yeah, I suspect it's skewed in certain areas. Let's see. Oh,
there was actually speaking of I guess like Alabama news, there was a oh man, I can't believe 1819 News was covering it. They had there was a shooter. He shot up a party. It was a big deal. Like he shot up. I forget. I think he hit 6 or 7 people. Let's see. But he decries let's see, detention as unconstitutional. Like, okay, how is this like because he is being detained without like he's not getting bail yet, basically, and they're saying that that's wrong, that he's not getting bail because even though he shot up a Sweet 16 party, like.
Is there still? I guess the question would be: is the investigation still ongoing? Do they have like? There's a lot of. There's a lot of.
So it says the attorney representing one of the suspects of the Dadeville Sweet 16 shooting claimed her client should have been given a bond because of Niall's law is unconstitutional. Attorney Anna Parker filed a motion to set bond in opposition to Niall's law, stating the new law violates the federally protected right to bail under the Constitution, specifically the Eighth Amendment. So I think what they're talking about in Niall's law is I think this is one of the few things that Governor Ivey actually signed into law that was actually good. It's where if you've done some heinous act, you can be denied bail. Like you can be denied bail and allowed to be held in custody. So like if you kill someone, this was in reference to a specific killing where some girl got killed and they like it was grotesque or whatever. Like the whole case was just terrible, and so they wanted to hold them without bail, but they couldn't at the time because I guess the federal protections or whatever. So they made a state law for that. So I think that's what she's complaining about here, is that hey, he has to have bail, because it's a constitutional thing, as opposed to the state law, which is saying hey, he can be held without bail.
I mean, if she's serious about it and believes that, then
they'll go all the way. Yeah,
right. There's a course of action for that, and that would be to appeal Aniah's law to a circuit court or a district court or whatever, and run that thing up the chain until it hits the Supreme Court and either get it overturned or it'll be upheld. But I suspect the reason that they're making a publicity stunt out of it and talking about it in the media instead of actually taking legal action against it is because they know that the 10th Amendment would, and the allowance for the states to make these laws, supersedes the federal on that side of stuff. That's why states are allowed to. Some states can or have legalized marijuana even though it's criminalized federally because states supersede that. So,
I mean, because feds would just be knocking on every weed smoker's door in California. Then I mean, but they've realized that they can't do that. That's an incredibly impossible task. I mean, when it's sold on a broad scale like it is or whatever. So they just kind of gave up on that. But he even the state rep is here. Chip Brown he's talking about. Yeah, what about the 10th Amendment? It clearly states that the power not given the federal government is reserved for the states. So the people of the state have the right to make their own laws, whether it be civil or criminal, and they have the right to try to keep their people and their community safe. I mean, this guy literally went and shot up a Sweet 16 party. So like, what he is a threat to the community if he's just going to go shoot up. I mean, maybe he did it. Maybe there was a reason because he was like, well, like a scorned lover or something like that. Maybe that was it was like a retaliation thing. But still,
that's always a legitimate reason to go shoot up the Sweet 16. More lovers,
incel, I mean, maybe like he was like had some premeditation or something like that. But still, that you're a threat to people if you're. So I mean, I don't see any problem with it. But like they were complaining about this kind of stuff. It's just. I'm firmly on the side of this.
This is the way that the left does this type of thing, though. Like they know that they don't actually have a legal case in the matter. So what they do is they make it a court of public opinion case and try to get the state to back down on it. And it's the cancel culture thing. Like they're trying to subvert the system,
pressure the state
by being loud and overbearing and just complete pain in the asses. And that's why it's the same with the cancel culture thing. Like the answer is always, okay, back it up then. Like until you can actually bring something that's verifiably actionable, then you're just flapping your gums. And that's if the state of Alabama, and it seems like with the guy citing the 10th Amendment, it seems like that's what the state of Alabama is doing, is they're standing by it and they're saying, look, we have the right to do this. You're wrong. And if you think you're right, then there is legal recourse for you to get this fixed. But like your client's going to sit in jail until you take those steps. So kick rocks, fucker.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually
told you I'd summon Carlos.
There he is. He should have been considered.
That's because everybody at a Mexican party is already strapped. Like ain't nobody shooting up a Mexican.
I mean,
Sweet 16.
you'll have like they may not be in MS-13, but they may know people who can hide a body. Like, it's like, here, hey, my friend, my friend Juan, he can hide a body. he knows a guy. I'll find a way to put you away. I say.
We all know that guy. Like, we've all got that guy. Like, I've got him on speed dial. Like, you know, like, it's the guy that you're like, hey, are you gonna be busy this weekend? He's like, no. Do I need to start digging the hole now? How many? Like, just pump the brakes. We're just brainstorming right now. You're a little too eager. Doesn't want payment or anything. Just like, bring an 18 pack and we'll get this taken care of. You know what I mean? We've all got that guy.
Yeah.
Oh man, my brother had a buddy that as soon as they graduated high school, he signed up for the Marines and went straight to Iraq. It was he and my brother graduated in 2004, so it was when things were like hot and heavy in Iraq. And some people are just built for that shit. And that crazy fucker, like, after he left for boot camp and everything and got deployed, the first thing we hear from him was an email. And he's like, I got
confirmed kill.
Yeah, I got to shoot a raghead. It's like, oh my god, dude, this, like, not a, hey, you know, this is what's been going on. This is how boot camp was. This is where I am. Blah 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 blah. No, it was, I got to shoot a raghead. God, Brad, really? Some people are just built different. I mean, it takes those types though. That's like, those are the people that you want in the military.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was like that the conversation I had with Duke and Remzo and Don, like, trying to figure out what's wrong with the military and how do we get it back to being, you know, a place where men were men. And it's like, there's too many fucking intellectuals. We need more guys that are just like, yeah, put a gun in my hand and let me go fucking shoot somebody. Like, that's what's missing from the military. This thing. Oh yeah, they were who was, I think it was Remzo was talking about, like, somebody, like a woman or something that was going to be a medic and was like didn't want to do
like, you have to do rifle training as a medic.
Yeah,
like
didn't want to do rifle training and was saying that she was like a conscientious objector or something to shooting a gun. Like, you signed up for the fucking military. Like, what did you think? What did you think was going to be happening here? Did you not read the
shut the hell up and lay down suppressing fire?
Right? Did you not read the not so fine print where you're going to be in the active war zone, very likely, and like, as a medic, your job is probably going to be to shoot the people who are shooting at you, so you can go help the people who got shot. Like, okay, like,
you don't just carry around bandages. This isn't like some video game where it's like, oh, I'm gonna play medic where I'm just gonna heal the person. like, here, I'm just gonna heal. here, let me wrap that wound. Oh yeah, like, I'm not gonna get shot in the middle of wrapping up this person's wound. No, it's not at all.
Right, like, this is destiny. You better still be pulling the trigger while you're bringing somebody back. Like,
yeah.
Otherwise, you're dead too, and then you're no use to anybody.
You still might be dead too, even if it's like you pull it off, you save this guy, then you still die. It's like this. Yeah, that's some war.
Very, very possibly. Speaking of conscientious objectors, well, what's old Greta up to these days? Still touting the end of the world.
It is
even sooner.
that will define the rest of humanity's future. And whether we choose to do that or not, if we don't, it will be a death sentence to countless of people. And it is already a death sentence to countless of people living on the front lines of the climate crisis today. But the political will is nowhere to be seen. The people in power are spending their time looking for false solutions and finding and creating loopholes which maintains business as usual and keeps them in the position of power. Our responsibility and our role here as activists in conferences like this is to call them out and to tell the truth. And the truth now is that these processes are failing. They are failing us here in this room. They are failing our children. They are failing all of humanity and the future generations to come.
Like it really hurts her case that we are watching her get older while she's been telling us that the world was going to end and we're all going to die. Like,
Yeah. like I'm never gonna have a childhood. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
you've
you're already an
stolen my
adult now?
childhood. You've stolen my childhood. Bitch, you got to live your whole childhood. You're an adult now. I'm like, shut up. Like, you, the only person who stole your childhood was you, because you spent all your time running around talking about climate activism bullshit instead of playing some video games and joining the lacrosse team and kissing boys and doing whatever the fuck it is that German kids do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, Heiling Hitler and whatever. Like, get your life together and actually do something with your childhood instead of, whatever the fuck this is. Like, you stole your own childhood. Like, when I was that age, the last thing on my mind was climate change. Like, I remember El Nino and La Nina and all of these like supposed climate things, and I was like, all right, like, it's gonna be a little bit cooler in the winter this year. It's gonna be a little hotter in the summer this year. That means I'm like gonna have good snow to build forts and snowmen and have snowball fights with, and that means I'm gonna spend a whole lot more time in the river and in the ponds, and my parents are gonna not care what if I wear less clothes. Like, I'm allowed to be half or practically naked, and it'll be completely acceptable instead of mom yelling at me, put a shirt on, you're gonna get skin cancer. Like, Mom, it's hot as balls. Okay, you're fine. Oh gosh, man. Speaking of childhood, it was so funny. So my kids asked me. My mom tells my kids stories about what a terror I was as a kid, so that they feel better about themselves or something. I don't know. Whenever they're being fuck ups, she's like, "Oh, well, did you know your dad did this?" It's like, they don't need to know that I did that, Mom. Like, keep your mouth shut. Like, they're the ones who are in trouble here, not me. Let's stay on topic. But anyway, she told them about this time that me and my brother like hooked a bunch of belts together and threw them out the window. So our bedrooms were upstairs. So this was the crazy part about this, though.
Y'all did like a Rapunzel thing.
Yeah. So we got in trouble, and our punishment was we weren't allowed to go outside. I was like, see, this is like this. Y'all's punishment is we kick you out of the house and make you go outside. When I was your age, our punishment was we weren't allowed to go outside. We had to stay in the house. Like, we were confined to our rooms and told to behave ourselves. And like, fuck that shit. Read a book or something. Like, whatever. I want to be outside. I want to be going and doing stuff. So anyway, my mom grounded us for the day. We weren't allowed to go outside. We had to stay in our room and clean and whatever. And it's not like staying in our room was a huge punishment. Like, we had just a metric fuck ton of toys. I have still got an entire G.I. Joe army. Like, I could take over this entire house and just have a G.I. Joe war all day long and be perfectly content with it. But it was the summer, and we wanted to be outside running through the woods and being wild heathens and beating sticks and killing snakes and shit. So Mom tells us, we got to stay in the house. We're not allowed to go outside. Well, we get the bright idea that we're going to take every belt that we've got, because for some reason we had an ungodly number of belts. Mom thought we needed to have a bunch of belts. So we hooked every belt
you gotta
that we
have
had
one
to
for
get.
blue jeans. You gotta have one for your dress pants. You gotta have one for
every belt that we had together, tied them to my bedpost, and then threw them out my bedroom window. Like, we opened the window and took the screen out and threw them out the window. We were going to rappel down the side of the house and escape. Well, out of my window directly down was my mom's bathroom window, and we're grounded. We have to stay in the house, so there's no chance that we're going to be like out running amok, break our leg or something. So Mom decides she's going to relax and take a long hot bath. As we throw this big like string of belts out the window, slaps against her window, we hear her scream, come running upstairs in nothing but a towel, just like ready to beat the ever loving hell out of us because we were trying to make our escape. But the interesting thing about that was it made Mom and Dad realize if there was a fire downstairs and we couldn't get down the stairs, we needed a way to get out of our window, and obviously stringing every belt in the house together was not a good option. So they got us these like fire escape ladders that we could like hook to the window and like roll down the side of the house. So if there was a fire or something, we could get out of the house. So
You probably regretted
that was actually pretty cool. We never did put those to use, and regrettably, because like now thinking back on it, like at some point we should have thrown those fucking things out the window and just taken off to see what. We also pulled the trampoline up underneath my bedroom window one time, and we were really close. Like we were trying to
see you guys going down and just punching a hole.
we're trying to gauge how far away from the house the trampoline needs to be so that we're not going to like come back and hit the house, but also we need it to be close enough that we can actually like make the jump and hit the trampoline without like, you know, breaking a leg on the poles around the outside or something. We never did work up the courage to jump out of the second story window onto the trampoline. But instead what we did was we had like a tree house, and so we pulled the trampoline over to the tree house and we would jump out of the tree house onto it. It was a little bit more manageable of a height. So man, it's a wonder I survived my childhood.
But see, that's like creativity though. Like that's
more a wonder that my mom didn't kill me than that I didn't kill myself. Like we did some dumb shit. Like I want my kids to go do that stuff. Yeah, get the fuck out of the house and go jump out of tree. Well, I shouldn't say that. We did have a tree, not a tree incident, but we had a magnolia tree at our old house. That fucking thing was like 25 foot tall. And walk outside one day, it's like, where are the kids? And started looking around and hear like giggling and look up. And Nadia's little tiny ass is all the way at the top of this fucking tree. She's like 20 foot off the ground. It's like, holy hell, how did you get up there? And then keep looking, and both of my kids are right below her. And I'm like, oh God, y'all are going to fall and hit every branch on the way down and break everything bone in your body. Like now
end
I
up
start
being
to
like
feel,
Mr. Glass. Yeah, it's like, oh crap.
yeah, now I start to feel some of the panic that my mom probably felt whenever she saw this string of belts hit the side of the house. And
you idiots.
Yeah, thinking we're about to come rappelling down the side of the house and fall out and break every bone in our body. My son climbed up on the side of a billboard with a couple of his dumbass friends one summer. Like,
were they trying to like graffiti it or?
No, they were just gonna jump. They were just gonna climb up there and jump off because why not? It's 15 foot off the ground. It's not like you're gonna break both legs or anything like that. They had this bright idea that they were gonna climb this fucking billboard and jump off of it. Jesus Christ! Like we had good plans when I was a kid. Like it might not have worked, but at least we thought this through. Like we weren't just like, oh,
like
look,
here we need to be able to jump out of the second story of the house, but we'll put a trampoline over here, because then it's not like just like, hey, let's climb the billboard and jump off.
Oh man, we had this old barn and it had a hayloft in it, and our dumb asses like, we're gonna jump out of the fucking hayloft. But we also realized that, it's 12 feet off the ground. And if we just jump straight off the hayloft onto the hard ass ground underneath it, then, we're probably going to hurt ourselves. So we just start taking these old bales of hay and breaking them apart and just dumping them. So there was this just giant pile of hay at the bottom. Then we would just bail off of that, jump into the giant hay pile. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. We would have like dirt clod wars. You would have people in the top and people in the bottom, and you just get these big giant dirt clods and like, throw them at each other.
Like the mud ball.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
So much fun. We had BB gun wars. That's like... we were so bad.
Now you like now you can do the airsoft, like if they don't try to, they're trying to, I know they're trying to restrict the airsoft guns more, but like, like I know a lot of people who would do those like airsoft wars. Like,
Ooh, I need to get some paintball guns, or if nothing else, just take like, yeah.
they got
get
these
some-
new gel guns. Like, I don't know if you've seen them. Like they do all like you can do like full auto with like it's like gel pellets.
Ooh,
You just like
yeah.
pelt them.
Yes, I
yeah.
have
Those are
seen
those are
those.
neat. Those are
look
pretty neat.
Fun.
I want to get some, but like also like I don't want to be plastered with gel pellets, like because my 5-year-old son just get.
Where is it? Hang on, I think I've still got a relic from back in the day. Hold up, let me grab this thing. This is
Classic.
heck yeah. When I was younger, I did a lot of paintballing. Huh? Oh, it's a little loose. See, I've still got my paintball mask. I'm ready to go.
Oh yeah.
We can fuck these kids up.
Oh yeah, that's sick. See, I never got the I would always have to rent when we would go paintballing because we didn't actually have the paintball stuff. There was only one paintball like arena near our house. Like it was just down the road though, but we would just go rent. Like we didn't actually buy the gear.
We raced like 4-wheelers and dirt bikes and stuff. God, I haven't been on a dirt bike in 20 years. We used to race 4-wheelers and dirt bikes and stuff. So actually, I've got my gear around here somewhere, like my 4-wheeler racing gear. Like had the chest plate and the leg guards and everything. And so like we'd put that stuff on and our paintball mask. That way, like when you get hit, it doesn't leave welts all over you. And we would just like light each other up. Oh my gosh. We were some bad fucking kids. In hindsight, I now realize that we were some bad fucking kids. All the things that we did are things I would yell at my kids for, and I realized maybe I should either not yell at my kids for it or participate. Probably I should participate.
A little both. I mean, obviously, like you don't want them doing that in the middle of like it's like no, I'm trying to do something. Like no, like we're trying to actually clean up here, but freaking making a mess. Like with it's like my son. Like he literally loves doing Nerf gun battles. He loves for me to grab a Nerf gun and us to go at it. But like as soon as we have to clean it up, he doesn't want to do that. So it's like sometimes I just have to tell him like, hey, we can't. No Nerf gun battle because you're not gonna clean up the darts. Like we ain't gonna do this. Like this is BS. I'm not cleaning up all your Nerf darts.
I used to have a really impressive Nerf gun collection when the kids were younger, and I didn't fight over that. Whenever we got divorced, I left that all at the ex's house. We had a bunch of Nerf guns, and we would have some pretty massive wars.
Yeah, he got a full auto one. It's like battery powered and it goes full auto. I'll get it and I'll just unload on him. So he's like, he loves it though. Like he's just all about it. He's like, yeah, no, he'll grab him one and then he'll dual wield and he'll be so gets into it. It's hilarious.
That's awesome. We derailed from talking about news. See, Greta's stolen childhood could have been more like ours if she had spent less time on climate activism and more time having paintball and Nerf wars.
My thing as a kid was we had a go-kart and I would like I bet you I made no telling how much I like gas I made my dad spend on that on that thing because I would literally drive around the yard so much that at a certain point like I made me like myself like a little track that I would like wear a track into the grass like area there and it was just dirt at that point, so I basically had me a little dirt track going around the yard. It's hilarious because I'd be whipping that thing and I'd like Tokyo Drift style with it, and then I nearly killed my brother, like getting him on it.
I almost killed myself on a 4-wheeler a couple times. Man, there was one time they had just cleared off. It had been like a goat pen, and they cleared it off and were converting it into, like, they sold all the goats, and they were converting it into like farm ground. Well, where the goat pen had been, there was this like big ridge, and I didn't know it. It just looks like a flat ass field to me. So I take off running across this thing, going like balls to the wall, hit this ridge, and just throws me over the handlebars. And apparently, I laid there for a good like 5-10 minutes. And
as long as the thing doesn't land on you, like is like that, because that's where I've heard, you know, kids get killed. It's like what they do. It's not that they get thrown over the handlebars as much as it is whenever like they get thrown over, and then the 4-wheeler just like flops over on top of them.
So I just got thrown, and apparently I knocked myself out for a couple minutes. And like I come to, and I get up and I jump back on the 4-wheeler, and I ride back over to the barn. And the guy that worked for us, he was like, "Man, that looked pretty bad. You laid there for probably 5-10 minutes." Really? You just like gonna watch me like lay out in the middle of the field and die? All right.
It's like, I figured you were okay.
Like, I guess if enough time passed and I didn't get up, he was gonna come check on me or something. He's just like, "Yeah, you laid there for a while." Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. My brother,
he's just gonna observe. You know, he's gonna be like, "Well, okay, now it's about time." maybe the body
really almost killed himself. We had, so like all of us who raced and stuff, we had a track, like a practice track that they had built, and had jumps and and a nice tabletop and the little ollies and everything. And so they had a nice jump onto a tabletop. Well, my brother way overshot it. Like he came in way too hot and just completely missed the down ramp, and his 4-wheeler took a nosedive right on, like on the other side of the ramp, and threw him over the handle. It threw him over the handlebars, and then the 4-wheeler bounced and hit him, and then kept going. He broke his collarbone and tore his hamstring. Broke his collarbone and tore his hamstring. Like he was in pretty bad shape. I mean, that's part of riding. Like, you know, you see kids have wrecks and they get hurt, and you know, 2 months later they're back out there racing again, doing the exact same dumb shit that they were doing before. Like that's part of it. Like you get thrown over the handlebars, you take your lumps, you go to the hospital, and 6 weeks later you jump back on the thing and you try to not make that same mistake again.
Yeah. No.
Let's see. Learning from or speaking of
mistakes, I guess.
Not making those mistakes again. Mark Cuban claims that companies like Target and Bud Light going woke is just good business. That seems kind of tone deaf and maybe a bit of a mistake.
It's right up his alley, though. Like he is. Mark Cuban, clearly he's part of. He's all about this kind of like woke capitalism or whatever, because he's been doing it. He's been investing in it. I mean, you see it all the time, like with his all of his business dealings. I mean, except for the Mavericks. If he was serious about the whole woke capitalism, like he would put a WNBA player on his NBA squad, like if he was serious about it. Oh well, you know, equality, you know, or something like that. But he's not that serious. He just thinks it's like, oh well, it's a good thing, blah, blah, because you know the ESG money and all that. Like that's the only reason, because he's part of that world, and that world is, you know, if you're getting that ESG money, who cares? Like, you know, who cares why you're getting it? It's, oh well, this is ESG. It's like,
let's see. Target stock has fallen by 3.1% in the last 5 days, and approximately 18.5% in the last month. Bud Light is
even higher now, like 20.
Bud Light's had a 24% decrease in sale, and the other, all of the other Anheuser-Busch brands have also had a very similar dip in sales over the last 4 weeks, and I mean that's not counting going back to when this whole thing started. They're in the midst of a multi-billion-dollar market cap ding. I Mark Cuban insisted that the dip was meaningless and unlikely due to individual stockholders taking action following the controversy.
Well, the dip may be meaningless, but the analysts, this was the biggest indicator for me for the Target thing. The analysts of actually downgraded Target stock. Like, they give them sort of a rating like, hey, do you buy this stock? You do not buy it, So the analysts are actually looking at Target stock and they're like, this is too risky. They've actually said like, hey,
who gave them that rating? Was it Jim Cramer? Because if it was Cramer, then you should probably
you
go
buy more.
buy. Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, let's see. See if I can find the.
But yeah, I mean, but you're
yeah,
right. Like the dip is not necessarily something that you would pay a lot of attention to, especially for like a big multi-billion-dollar corporation like this, like Target, like Anheuser-Busch. When you see it happen like right away, that's not something that you're gonna be like, oh, it's the end of the world. But when it's sustained for weeks, and at this point for Anheuser-Busch, we're going on
months,
like 2. Yeah, for Anheuser-Busch, we're going on like 2 months or more. Target is pushing Target's pushing a month that this has been going.
I mean, the Bud Light one and the Target one seem to have staying power. Like it's not like, because now people will go like, oh, do you want to be Bud Light? And then okay, well now do you want to be Target? Like with all the companies that are trying all this, this bull crap. Like it's, hey, do you want to be the next Bud Light? So I mean, it's like they're that brand. I mean, unless they just like somebody made a point of like this, like if they put out a new brand that's like an Anheuser-Busch product that's not Bud Light, that like they take that product away and they put out a new one that's like, oh, I don't know, redneck beer or something like that. Then maybe they can trick people or whatever. That was their kind of plan, one of their contingency plans. But like, as long as Bud Light exists, it's like that's synonymous with this. So they've basically cornered themselves into like, hey, does any company want to be the next Bud Light or Target at this point too?
I was surprised that the staying power of it for Target. Like I thought it would be like maybe a week or two, just a blip, and then everything would go back to normal. Because I widely viewed Target as pretty fucking gay. I didn't think that they had a real major conservative straight customer base, but apparently so. And that kind of took me by surprise. Like I really thought the Target would just be like a flash in the pan. They'd get like a run on them, and then it would all kind of level itself back out. Like the outrage would kind of fizzle out, and everybody would move on. But it doesn't seem like that's been the case, and that's really taken me by surprise.
What's actually more surprising to me, I don't know if did you see the thing about Starbucks actually is rolling back their Pride stuff. Like they were gonna have a whole Pride blah blah blah, like the Pride Cup and all this kind of stuff. Surprisingly, apparently they've rolled all that back and they said, hey, we don't want to do that. I don't know if it's just because of like the backlash period, or if it was something that was like, hey, maybe this isn't panning out as much as we would have liked. But like there was like a Starbucks alliance that was complaining about it because like they're saying like, hey, they're wanting to unionize. Obviously, the Starbucks workers are wanting to unionize, but the union was complaining about the not having the Pride merchandise or whatever, because they were saying like, oh, this is this proves that they're all against us, no matter how much they want to do this, pretend that they care about us and everything. But apparently Starbucks is rolling back a lot of that kind of stuff. It's surprising that a company like that serious about it, that's been that serious about it for so long, is kind of reeling it back. That's what's weird to me.
Yeah,
Like I can see I can see Target being like, because there was I was watching the Cordings video talking about it. He covers a lot of these kind of stuff. I mean, he's kind of more hyperbolic about it, but he was talking about the Starbucks thing, and he was like, yeah, like these Daily Wire guys like that say that talk about woke stuff or whatever. Like they still buy Starbucks, they still shop at Target a lot of times until the boycott happens, and then they decide, hey, I'm gonna do it. But like they like to shop like it they like to buy Starbucks coffee, and Starbucks for the longest time was a super woke company, and so it didn't matter that they were woke as long as they didn't have this whole movement like Target has. I think the real thing is when they put the like when we saw just the pride flag that was just like the normal like rainbow flag, and it was just like, hey, we just want to have something to represent gay people, then it was like, okay, fine. But now it's like the trans stuff, and it's like for kids, especially with the Target thing. I think that those kind of things like really rub people the wrong way, and it makes them like really think that your brand is toxic if you want to associate it with it.
Well, especially as much as now it's the trans side of it's getting pushed, where you've got trans people out on the White House lawn rubbing themselves in the wrong way. Like,
yeah.
I didn't think this was
it's funny that they banned the person that was the trans person that he had invited that all of a sudden just like flash topless or whatever. Like they banned them from being able to attend any future events.
Yeah, I did think that was funny. And then like that person was claiming that claiming it was discrimination or something. What was going on with that? It was shoot,
yeah,
was,
whatever is saying that.
Hang on, we're gonna play this video because yeah, it is a good the voice.
It has recently come to my attention that conservatives are trying to use the video of me topless at the White House to try to call the community groomers, etc. And I would just like to say that, first of all, going topless in Washington, D.C. is legal. And I fully support the movement in freeing the world, because why is my chest now deemed inappropriate or illegal when I show it off? However, before coming out as trans, it was not. All you're doing is pretending that I'm a woman. All you're doing is saying that trans women are women, because for some reason, people like to sexualize women's bodies.
No, bitch. What we're saying is titties is titties. Remember the black guy that got a fine because he was out shirtless and they gave him an indecent exposure? Like,
yeah.
What was it? They fined him like $300 for each or $300 per titty. Like, titties is titties. You can't have them out in public. It's not about.
Was that the one that was like is that the one that was on the car?
Yeah, he was all pissed off.
That was hilarious. Just flopping around. I was like, what am I watching? Oh, man. It's like, oh god. Lizzo, no.
Lizzo, no. Oh god. Well, I mean, and then I guess there was this reaction to the whole topless tranny on the White House lawn. This one was pretty unexpected, I guess, from Forrest Mommy's favorite person, Jesse Kelly. That tranny that flashed everyone at the White House looked pretty good, and I'm tired of pretending you didn't.
I swear, I told everybody, I was like, this is Dennis, right? Yeah.
I know, it was so funny when you sent me that. You said, "This is the best Dennis yet." I was like, "Oh, that's not Dennis." So I sent this to the Dennis group chat down here. Down here in the corner.
They gotta do it.
I sent that to the Dennis group chat. Oh gosh, they got all of them going. So it was, I mean, sometimes reality is hard to distinguish from Dennis, and I guess that's kind of the point of Dennis is like, he hits the nail so squarely on the head that you're like, I can believe that they actually said that. And then sometimes you see stuff and you're like, there's no way they said that. That's got to be Dennis. And then you realize, oh shit, that's not. That's like
That's
like,
real.
reality blurs so closely to parody that it's almost impossible to figure it out. Like the Joe Walsh. I would vote for Hitler before I vote for Trump.
And then he literally did it like a month later or something, didn't he? Like,
No. He got Dennis himself. It was the or he fell for the David Hogg one, where it was the David Hogg Dennis that said, "I got a job working for the FBI, working on school shootings." And he said, and the real shit, what's his face? He said congratulations. Like, Joe Walsh. It was the real Joe Walsh congratulated the Dennis David Hogg for getting the job at the FBI. Like, sometimes
he didn't get the joke.
it's impossible to tell what is what anymore. CD is in the comments over on Rumble. She said Jesse Kelly's gay as fuck.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And she is right. She says, you sexualized yourself in front of kids. That is literally grooming. Look at my tits. It's okay because I'm a man with implants. So you can look at them, little kids. Like, yes, that is literally grooming. Like, you are trying to normalize and more or less coerce kids into feeling okay with pornographic images and stuff that they shouldn't be exposed to, much less have a positive feeling.
two female nice experience. Yes.
So we will be on Rumble for another week. Thank you to all of the Rumble commenters. Actually, our YouTube suspension ended yesterday, and or no, actually it ended Monday, but I did not realize that it had ended. So I filed an appeal to our last suspension, and whenever you file an appeal, they then start your suspension over again. If I had been paying attention and realized that the suspension was already over with, I wouldn't have appealed, but I did. So, and who knows? Maybe I won the appeal. I haven't checked back. I'm really kind of fucking done with YouTube. I mean, we'll go back to YouTube whenever it kicks back off. Well, I think what we'll probably do for those who are actually watching is we will probably discontinue streaming on Twitter because it's impossible to interact with people who are commenting on Twitter. And so we'll run the stream simultaneously on YouTube and Rumble and Facebook, as always, for those who are in the private Facebook group where we stream all of this stuff. That's literally all we do in the private Facebook group. So if you would like to join and liven that place up a little bit, please feel free. But in the meantime, we will be on Rumble for at least another week, and then for indefinitely after that. And we'll go back to YouTube until they finally get fed up with us and kick us out.
So
didn't mean this to turn this into like a plug outro. I just thought everybody might want to know what's going on the business side of the morning after. We need to do another evening show. I'm off this Saturday. If we can talk the other fuckwads into like showing up for a Saturday show, we need to do a Saturday night before again here sometime soon.
Yeah, I mean this Saturday or next
Saturday, the following Saturday, the one after that. Shit, I'm available for the next 4. Let's make a night before happen. Hell,
yeah.
We've talked about it like a couple months in a row, and then when it comes time, either I forget, or you forget, or Dag and Clyde forget, or
we're all like a freaking amnesiacs here.
I was thinking it's more like we're a bunch of retards.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.